Hello there, in this video I'll show you how to add features to your Godot game by just typing text prompts. We'll be using Ziva, an AI plugin built specifically for Godot to take your workflow to the next level. It helps you save time on the repetitive coding part so you can spend more time where it actually matters, designing better mechanics and improving the player experience. The point isn't replacing humans or doing everything for you, it's shifting your focus away from busy work and toward what the users will actually see and play, not what's buried in the code. First of all, let's go to their website, link in the description. Over here, scroll down until the install Ziva section. In this case, I want to select the manual installation. Click over here, download the corresponding version for your operating system, in my case, Windows. Then in my Godot project, if I don't have an add-ons folder, I will create it exactly with this name. I'll go ahead and extract the zip I downloaded from GitHub, and I'll drop this folder, okay, into the add-ons. Automatically, Ziva is gonna get opened right over here on the left. Then I'll go to the settings profile, and here as you can see my email is not authenticated, so what I need to do is to press over here on this white button, log into chat, approve, and now as you can see we are logged in. Something that is very cool is the fact that over here on the bottom you can go ahead and select any model. For example, you have Claude models, you also have Gemini, you have GPT, you have even Codex. One that is very recommended for code is this one, but as it is a little bit expensive and can take a lot of time, another option that you can use is, for example, Haiku. But in this case, let's start with this one. And I think that I really recommend you set up is version control. For example, in this case I'm using GitHub desktop, just so that if Ziva does anything wrong, we can revert those changes. Something I personally really like about this is that it is right inside of Godot, so it's not that, for example, you have to have VS Code opened or anything like that. And even if you don't want to have things in different windows, you can click over here, make floating, and this one, for example, move it to wherever you need, because it's basically part of the Godot docking system. I'm gonna start with a very basic request, just add double jump to the player. Once again, one of the main advantages here is that as this is plugged in to the project itself, it's not that I have to be copying and pasting code. I don't have to be providing the player script and then pasting it back again into Godot. It's directly gonna be doing everything on its own. As you can see, this is plugged inside of the project, so it also, for example, reads the input map. Okay, this is something that only exists within the Godot project, so if we would just copy and paste the script into any other AI, it wouldn't really have access to the input map. And as you can see, for example, here it opened the player script, okay, and it started modifying and adding the logic that we needed. At the very end, it tells you what's changed, okay. It actually allows you to understand completely what has changed and even how it works in the background, just for you to understand the logic behind. And why I think this is so important, because sometimes you just rely 100% on AI. It may write your code correctly, but if you don't actually understand what it does, trust me, a lot of times when you are dealing with AI coding, you end up relying 100% on the tool, and whenever you want to add something, even if it is super tiny, you will end up spending a lot of time going back and forth with the AI. And if you actually understand the logic behind it, you can do it yourself way faster, or at least guide the AI a little bit better in terms of where to find that code, how to modify it, etc. So this is just a companion, an agent that helps you know, something that will create everything on its own, and you have to understand nothing about the logic. That's why I think this is very, very important. Now when we hit play, as you can see, without having to copy paste any script, we now have our double jump logic. And even, okay, due to the fact that now I understand that I have this constant here, max jumps, which of course is 2 right now, what I could perfectly do is just make it 3, for example, and I want to have a triple jump rather than a double jump. I have 1, 2, and 3 jumps, okay, and I can no longer jump. Here we can see the importance of actually understanding what the AI is doing and how Ziva makes it very easy by telling you what changed and how it works. So as you can see now, this change, I do want to save it, so I'm going to create a commit here, add double jump. I will commit it and push it, so now I can come back to this point in time. Okay, I can revert any change now that I'm going to be asking for more things, so if Ziva does something wrong. What I want to do right now is adding a power up, specifically a power up that will allow me to duplicate my jump velocity for 10 seconds. And not only that, but I also want a visual for this, specifically just a text, okay, a countdown. I'm gonna send this message, and well, this is actually a bigger request, so it will have to do many things, okay. So let's see how this goes. Something that's actually very important is that this is a pre-made game, okay, so it already has system to, for example, spawn vehicles, decorations, coins. So I specifically told it, take a look at the logic, okay, that spawns the coins, okay, and maybe copy that logic or plug this power up logic inside of there, just so that it doesn't start creating dozens of scripts 100% from scratch and actually plugs into your existing workflow. Something that is very interesting that it also did a plan here. For example, first it said, okay, generate pixel art for the power up. So it seems that it's even generating an image for that. Then, for example, creating the script, the scene, updating the player logic to have an activate power up method, etc. So very interesting that first it's actually planning everything and then executing that plan. Not only that, but also as I had told it to follow the coin logic, it's even creating an animation, okay? Like a collect animation. Here we have it, okay? So it has indeed finished, and we have the summary of change. So it actually explains very in detail, okay, the script it created, the scripts it has modified, and even the scenes, okay? And as you can see, for example, here in the UI, it actually added the power up label that I told it, okay? And it used the same font style as you can see as I used to have, and it even added an icon here. So very complete and also very efficient, because I didn't have to tell it below that, use the font, use this style. It managed everything, okay? Just as if you were actually assigning this task to a human. Now it seems that here it dropped me an error while playing. So what I'm gonna do is copy just this error and send it right over here. By the way, Control V at the moment does not work, so you have to right click, paste, and send it. But as it says over here, it's just usually because this power up instance or this power up scene has not been loaded in inspector, so that's probably the issue. And it seems that this is what is actually done right now. But okay, it's still giving me this error, so let me check it myself manually. But it seems that no, it has been able to for some reason assign it, so I'm gonna do it manually. Here we go. Okay, I've collected, and okay, right now as you can see I have double jump speed, so it's a little bit easier to survive. And let's see if all the logic works best. Basically, if I can come back to the previous jump velocity, and it seems that yes, it did everything. So even added an icon. Maybe the icon is not 100% good, but it's there. Okay. Also, the power up idea is not the best one, as you can see. And also, I think that actually doubling the jump velocity is a little bit too much. So the cool thing that you can do is, if you don't know where that is, probably it has told us here where it is. But let's say that you didn't have the time or didn't feel like checking that, I can just ask the AI, and as you can see here, it's telling me, okay, here we have this jump multiplier variable, and well, it seems that this in the player, so maybe it's not the best thing, because then we want to add more power-ups. Maybe, well, we just told it to generate one power-up, but it would have been amazing if at the very first try it did, for example, something using resources and managing the data more efficiently there. But well, it's still here, and it's pretty easy to see what's things. So jump multiplier 2.0, so maybe let's make it 1.5. And this case, it lasts for 10 seconds. Let's make it last for 7 seconds. And here we go. Let's check it. So we now have 7 seconds, as you can see. And well, we still have the power up, but well, it's not that much as it used to be. I want to show you this because we can actually iterate on what the AI did. We can ask it questions, because remember, this is 100% connected, okay, to the project itself. So it will answer, okay, how can I modify the multiplier for the power up? It knows where it is. And now what I want to do is a background selection screen. Specifically, okay, I just want to be using this exact same background, but okay, I want to have a couple of variations, okay, by modifying the modulate. Once again, let's remember to actually commit these changes first. And also here you can actually take a deeper look on what things changed, what things were modified, and you can also start kind of building your history over here of the features that you are adding. And also remember that always, if you wanna go to a specific version of the project, you can, for example, go back to the double jump version. Without this one, you can right click here, create branch from commit, and call it, I know, double jump, create branch, okay, and you will have the main branch, okay, with all these changes, and a double branch with just this change over here without this one. But that is more details about version control that I don't really want to dig any deeper here. And okay, it didn't actually finish generating it, okay, but we can still see some of the things that it's doing. So for example, it's creating the UI, it added this label, so very, very amazing. So you can also preview the changes in real time. And okay, here we have the scene. It's very, very good. Maybe here, well, let's just hit play and see what we have, because from here, this text is outside of the viewport. But well, okay, we're still starting in this first main menu scene. Then choose background. We have the previous background. That is very interesting. Day, sunset, and night. And we have the buttons. Amazing. Let's play sunset first. And here we go. It's really, really amazing, okay? Let's try the other one. So let's go with night. It even used the same scene transition system that I already had set up. And here it is. So very, very amazing. And once again, it committed a very simple mistake. This is not center, okay? So we just go here, we have the node. Let's go to the anchor preset, put it here, maybe move it down a little bit, and that is fixed, okay? But how much time did we save with doing all this with the AI. Just amazing. And actually did a lot of changes. So this is the menu script, and before we are loading the main scene, now we are loading background select scene, which is this scene that we've seen before with a lot of UI elements, everything that it had there. Then I created here the logic, okay, to set the background modulate in the global script. That this global script, okay, is something that I have created personally myself before, okay, and I actually took this global script that is an auto load script, added this variable, okay, and then actually modified this variable when needed over here. So that's really a lot because it plugged in perfectly with what I used to have before. And then in the background scene itself on ready, okay, it changed the modulate using this global. So you can see everything perfect and as if I had done it, and it took maybe 2-3 minutes, 5 at most, to do all this. So this is what I'm gonna be sending, do the same thing but for the player, and actually want it after the background selection. So firstly, main menu, background selection, player selection, and gameplay scene. I also told you, okay, I think that these fades are a little bit too slow. Now we have many fades, okay, so what I need to do is, okay, faster fade for these scene transitions, but the one that is from player selection to gameplay scene, that fade must stay as it is right now. So let's see it, let's check it. Okay, so play, okay, faster fade, definitely. Let's go with sunset, okay, faster fade again, original, red, blue, amazing. Let's go with red, and slower fade, literally perfect. What can I say? Let's now do a combination, for example. So let's do a night, so blue background and red player. I cannot really believe it, okay? And here we even have the power, so we have everything that we have created, well, that the AI has created with us. And the pricing is also amazing because just $20 a month, or if you pay annually, you save close to 20%. And for this price, literally, you can just buy one subscription in any other of the models that we've seen. So this is Ziva, link in the description down below.